My name is Mark, and I want to tell you about the moment I realized love doesn't always end in shouting matches or slammed doors. Sometimes it ends in quiet departures and subtle signals, like a wedding ring left on a dashboard, glinting in the morning sun like a final goodbye. It all started 6 years ago when I met Jessica. She wasn't the loudest person in the room, but she was the most captivating. She had this way of smiling like she was holding back a secret, like she knew something the rest of us didn't. I fell for that smile, hard. We met at a mutual friend's engagement party, one of those awkward events where no one really knows each other and everyone's trying too hard to look like they're having fun. I was standing by the bar, nursing a whiskey and trying to avoid small talk, when she walked up and asked me if I hated these kinds of parties as much as she did. I laughed. She didn't. That's when I knew I wanted to know more. We spent the rest of the night talking about life, music, books, and that weird in-between place where you're too young to settle down, but too old to start over. By the end of the night, I'd forgotten everyone else in the room. I only remember her. We started dating. It was magic at first. Sunset walks, impromptu road trips, breakfast in bed. She'd leave little notes in my jacket pockets, scribbled on napkins or receipts. Can't wait to see you tonight. Still thinking about that dumb joke you told. A year later, I proposed with a cheap ring and a heart full of hope. She cried. I thought that was a good sign. The first 2 years of marriage were solid. We weren't perfect. Who is? But we were happy. Or so I thought. Looking back now, I can trace the cracks. They weren't big or loud at first. They were small, subtle, the kind you don't notice until the whole structure caves in. She started staying late at work. At first, I didn't think much of it. She was ambitious, driven. I loved that about her. But then it became a pattern. Late nights, canceled plans, vague explanations. She stopped laughing at my jokes, stopped making eye contact. The notes disappeared. I asked her if everything was okay. She always said yes, always with that same distant smile, the one I used to love. Now it felt like a wall. One night, I got home early. Her car was in the driveway, but the lights inside were off. I thought she might be asleep, so I walked in quietly, ready to surprise her with takeout and a rented movie. But the house wasn't empty. I heard voices, a man's voice. Heron, I froze. I didn't barge in. I didn't scream. I just stood there, behind the hallway wall, heart pounding in my ears. They were in our bedroom. I heard her laugh, soft, like it used to be with me. Then silence, and then I heard the bed creak. I left. I drove for hours that night, aimless and numb. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't. But I knew. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. She kissed me on the cheek, asked if I wanted coffee. I nodded. She made it just the way I liked. 2 sugars, no cream. Like muscle memory. I didn't say a word. A part of me wanted to confront her, to scream, to cry, to demand an explanation. But I didn't. I needed proof, not for her, for me. Over the next few weeks, I noticed everything. The way she kept her phone face down, the way she took calls in the garage, the new perfume I never complimented her on, the lingerie I never saw her wear. One day, she said she was going to a conference out of town. I nodded and helped her pack, kissed her on the forehead and watched her drive away. Then I followed her. She didn't go to a conference. She went to a cabin, one we had rented together on our first anniversary. But she wasn't alone. I watched from a distance as they laughed on the porch, wine glasses in hand, wrapped in the blanket we used to share. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't torn. She was in love with someone else. I didn't confront her that weekend. I waited until she came back. She walked through the door like nothing had happened. That night, I asked her if she still loved me. She hesitated. Then she said, I don't know. 3 words. That's all it took to shatter everything. We didn't fight. We didn't yell. She cried a little. I didn't. I just nodded. We agreed to take some space. She moved in with a friend temporarily. Days turned to weeks, then a month. She never came back. One morning, I got into my car to drive to work. That's when I saw it. Her wedding ring, sitting on the dashboard like a relic. She didn't leave a note, just the ring. That was her answer. I called her once. She didn't pick up. I texted her, "Is this it?" She replied hours later, "I'm sorry." That was the last thing she ever said to me. It's been 2 years now. I still live in the same house. I kept the ring. It sits in a box in my drawer, next to the photos we never took down. I'm not angry anymore, just tired. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd said something sooner, if I'd fought harder. But you can't make someone love you, and you can't unhear the silence. If you've made it this far, just remember, cheating doesn't always come with lipstick on collars or strange cologne scents. Sometimes it comes with quiet exits and wedding rings left behind, and that hurts in a different way.